that's the reason why you're hanging out with them. Like there's some type of attraction there. Is that?
I don't think that's healthy.
I have a thought on this.
Okay.
And just jumping all out the window. Okay. There is this false, fake thought that attraction is sin. And it's not. It is the acting on it.
Nobody. Okay.
But I'm saying, like,
it's not a sin to act on attraction.
It depends on the situation. So, like,
it depends on what the act is too.
It depends on what the act is. But like in that situation, okay, what if the two people?
I don't think it's healthy for a person to hang. He said that the reason why you're hanging out with them is simply because you're attracted to that person, and it's only one of the parties.
Yeah, and then I'm just saying, like, that's not like it's not for me. That's not considered true friendship. I feel like it's an agenda behind it. Like it's like a waiting game.
No, what if they're attracted and they're like, I am attracted to the person, but I'm gonna maintain my boundaries. I'm gonna maintain them.
What's wrong with that?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You said there's an agenda behind it. Like
I didn't say agenda.
What do y'all say agenda?
I said agenda.
Okay.
So you saying?
Why you getting so sassy?
I am what?
Go ahead, sassy Fred.
I said I am. But
I need to sew some pants.
All right.
Sassy pants for you.
Take try to get me.
He's just stirring up the pot.
He trying to
get sassy.
Dog, all I said, I am.
Go ahead, sassy Fred.
Okay. Good thing I prayed before I came.
His nostrils are flaring up though.
Hey, sassy Fred.
I remember that conversation. That was nah, I wasn't sassy, but anyway.
Sassy, bro. All right, episode number. I forgot about IG. I just logged on IG. Episode number 109 of the Disruptive Faith podcast. Come on, somebody. All right, hold on one second. I'm waving at Jason. All right.
I don't see you, dog.
I'm out here. Me and Jason, we chatting right now.
Oh, okay.
Episode 109, Disruptive Faith podcast, where we're having honest and necessary conversations. Conversations that you might not be having at your local Sunday morning service. I want to host Tech along with
Fred Green
and
Jay Blunt.
Hey, what up, Jay fellas? How is everything going?
Good.
Everything's going good.
I'm trying to get connected with you guys on IG.
All right, me too. I'm trying to set this up. I left my little phone stand thing. But y'all are good. All is well. That's definitely not gonna stay there.
Yes. Let me give a quick update to have y'all get set up. As everybody mentioned last week, my wife wasn't feeling well. She's doing much better. Much better. She's back home. So I'm excited about that. I want to shout out one of my brothers, my fellow podcaster, Jay Blunt. I'm going to tell you a lesson that I learned from Jason. Okay? This is what it is. Sometimes when we want to help somebody out, what we usually do is just to call them and say, if you need anything, let me know.
Hello.
But Jason called.
That sounds like somebody I know.
Hello.
Hey, that's me. But Jason called and was just like, "Hey, I'm coming past your place. I'm dropping off some food for you and the family to help out." And I said, "You know what? It's a simple thing, but it was very, very encouraging." So, Jason, shout out to you, man.
Come on, Jason's a real Christian.
Jason's a real Christian.
Sometimes.
He cooked us an amazing. My kids loved it. I don't know if you got our message. On your
yeah, I did.
We tried to call you. So yeah, thank you, man. I want to shout you out.
I actually sent y'all to voicemail intentionally. I just want to let you know. I saw the call and I sent it to voicemail.
I did enough. I'm good.
I was like, you know what?
I did my part.
Not go ahead. Phone like an old man.
The whole community.
I appreciate it.
Said thank you, man. They love the spaghetti.
Yeah. I felt bad because I didn't realize I forgot you were vegan. Your wife were vegan.
I'm not vegan. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm not vegan. My wife is. No, she's not vegan. She's a pescatarian.
Pescatarian? Okay.
That's where you eat everything. You eat fish, but you don't eat.
You just eat fish. You don't eat anything else. Yep. So yeah, I forgot to tell you that, but no,
are the kids Presbyterian too?
Oh nah.
Presbyterian. He said that on purpose.
Presbyterian, is that the religion?
I used to say Presbyterian, but I didn't know what Presbyterian was until I met my wife. I used to say Presbyterian all the time.
Come on now, I'm Methodist. I'm not denominational.
But Jason could cook that spaghetti. Me and my son, and we was just
bro. I could have brought you some spaghetti.
Well, you know.
All right, so next time you got it. You got it.
Okay, that's better way. Just don't put
do y'all like brown sugar
cinnamon in it? Yeah, don't put no brown sugar in it, man.
Just don't put cinnamon.
No,
I'm gonna put some brown sugar in there. Come on, somebody.
That's his favorite seasoning.
Every time.
Brown sugar.
My wife in the chat.
Sugar. All right. So without any further ado, let's get to it. We got a lot to talk about. Maybe not. No more than usual. So first, we're going to be talking about Chandler Moore, but we also are going to be starting. We just left De-Selfing Christianity, which I really enjoyed a lot. We're going to go into a new series here. My camera keeps getting fuzzy. We're going to go into a new series here entitled Crucial Conversations, and where we have tough and uncomfortable but necessary conversations, which we do all the time, but these will be particularly uncomfortable. So, hey, Aaron in the building. So, starting off with, we're going to be talking about sex today, the church and sex. So, be appropriate. But before we get to that, let's
crazy
talk about
tonight.
Chandler.
As soon as Aaron popped up, I was like, "Oh my god!" Look, there go the hearts. I'm pretty sure that was his on IG.
Today we're gonna talk about Chandler Moore. You know what? I did not think this was a big deal, but then I kept hearing about it, so I was like, "Man, I guess this is a thing." So those who don't know. First of all, congratulations to Chandler Moore. Chandler Moore is a big gospel singer. If you've heard Maverick City, Old Town Road, Maverick City, Dante Bowie, Chandler Moore.
He is Maverick City, basically.
He is Maverick City. Always get him and Dante confused. They sound the same. I feel like they're the same person. But he's been doing a lot of stuff. He's the new worship guy, on the streets right now. He did a song. He just did a couple songs with Justin Bieber. They're on tour right now. I think they're coming here soon with Lecrae. Most people know Chandler Moore, Maverick City. So congratulations to him. He just got married, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he got married, and then they posted some wedding photos, and people lost their mind. So the question is, fair Pharisee, all right? Is Chandler Moore's wedding photos inappropriate? If you're on IG, you can't see it, or to listen to it on the podcast. But if you want, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it. Or
YouTube. Yes,
you can go to YouTube or Facebook. We're streaming on there right now, and you can see it. So here we go. Chandler Moore. Fred has not seen these yet.
I haven't seen it.
Aaron said, no, they are perfect. All right, here goes Chandler Moore. This is one right here. People didn't like. I seen
that one, really?
Yeah, the fake middle finger thing. And then this was the one they didn't like. They definitely didn't like this one. They were all up in arms. They were like, whoa.
That's hilarious.
So
that's it.
That's it. Okay, the question is Chandler Moore wrong for posting what is deemed inappropriate wedding photos? Or do you think people are, wrong? Fred is like, that's it. I just posted some photos like that. Right now, go to my IG.
Who's first? Who's going first?
Okay. Pastor J.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's inappropriate. I just think it's... So the first one, definitely not inappropriate. The first picture is definitely not inappropriate. The second picture is just it's just more than what that I just say the average Christian would post. I don't even say average actually. I would just say more than what an older Christian would post. I guess I think he's been like his peer group, his age, his peer group as far as Christian and the age younger crowd. They probably do this all the time. Like this is normal.
Right.
But to see because he has the title Christian, they're not like Kirk Franklin definitely would post this. I'm pretty sure Kirk Franklin has posted something like this. So he's married now, right?
He's married.
So so I don't know. Leave the guy alone. That's a lot. It's the face for me.
It's the face. That's what I'm
So
that's
it's
what
the face.
It's
It's the face. Can they see this?
Yeah, you can see
It's the face he's making. So that's a lot.
But some people felt like it would be a stumbling block.
Well, yeah, I'm getting married.
Is it a stumbling?
Get married.
Okay, all right.
You guys stumble.
Pass the green.
That's what you say. I slipped.
I'm shocked that I thought it was a little bit more raunchy than that. So the first picture was funny. I saw a shirt. Yeah, I saw a shirt had that. I told my wife, I'm gonna get you that shirt. That's hilarious. I think the ring finger showing a ring finger is like a fake middle finger. So I have no problem with the first picture. I think that's great. The second picture, I don't personally have a problem with it. Definitely because they're married. They just got married. And I'm assuming like this is right after the wedding.
It's during the wedding.
This is during the wedding. So they're excited. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like I don't think there's nothing wrong with the second picture. They're married. These are excited wedding pictures, and
Come on, man.
they
done.
excited.
This is what I'm saying. Like we done worse. We as in Christians have done worse.
Not me.
And I ain't even gonna say I got evidence of you with the fellas with a similar. Anyway,
They not even with my wife. They with my friends.
just you and the boys.
Yeah, just me and the guys. Right,
So
you're right.
You know, this is when you live your life out in front of the world. We get to say what's right and wrong for your life, but we get to do whatever we're gonna do behind closed doors. Or, it's this. Come on, man. This is not new. We say it all the time. I just think they should let people be. Let him have his day. Keep your name out of his mouth in marriage. Bless his marriage. Let them live. It's just one of those hating moments. You see a husband and wife having a good time. And that's all it is. If this was, 3 weeks before, then you have a little bit more grounds to say what's happening. But, let that man live.
I gotta say one thing really quick before we go tech. Just want to reiterate, Jason, you are right. It's the face.
It's the
man.
face.
It's the face that really pushes it to another level. Yeah, it's the face.
So apparently he said
they were dancing.
She was twerking on him.
Can Christians twerk?
And
Are Christians
the
allowed to
picture
twerk?
It was just taken in that moment. Now, I feel one. I think the one thing that's dumb about it is that it has become such a issue. People are so invested in like other people's lives. It's just weird. Like, what is it? So what? Like, what does that have to do with you? And I think that is a bigger conversation about like Christians don't really mind their business, and that's scripture too. I want to say Thessalonians. Literally, scripture says mind your business, and we never preach that one, and we definitely don't live it. We definitely don't live it. But because I am a Pharisee, I do think my Pharisee side says Another thing we don't do. I need to. Anyway.
We too vanilla. That's what I think that people consider Christians to be vanilla. Like we can't have fun. We can't it's all the same. Like we gotta Christianity is vanilla. We're not allowed to enjoy one another. One another meaning husband and wife. But then I think but stop going to that picture. He keeps scrolling back to the picture. So every time I talk, you gotta scramble. He's flipping the picture while I'm talking. We should be able to have fun, enjoy life. That's all. We're not vanilla. Go ahead.
I agree, but and I feel like he would say that, and it's like, man, the Christians, we can have fun. But I feel like there is a certain call to modesty. I think
absolutely.
I think even with jewelry, even with being flashy, I get it. We want to show we're cool, but like there is a certain call to where it's like, yeah, it's not bad, but just why not? Why not chill out? Why not? What's with just chilling out? Do you have to post? Do you have to post a picture of you been to your wife on?
I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I don't think you have to. See, that's the thing. I don't think it needs to be done. It has to be done. But when it is,
to fall because of these pictures. But some people were saying that it was a stumbling block for people. I don't think it's a stumbling block.
If if a picture was going to throw you off, you were already off. Because this is
at least your words on the internet.
This is rated G in most books.
I don't think he did nothing wrong. I don't think nothing wrong.
By the way, this photo is now a part of Eric's wallpaper on his phone.
This is the photo that pop up when you call. This photo pop up. This is your screensaver phone.
So you basically what both of you guys saying, which I guess I could follow that train of thought is not the fact that it exists or the action, but it's more so him deciding to post it. Like he didn't have to share it to the world. Where he is status wise, he could have made a decision and say, I don't have to share this photo. I can show the other photo.
I was just reading. I wasn't just. Let me not lie. Back last week when I was reading the Bible, where Paul is talking about if somebody's weak, like listen, if this is going to be such a distraction to you, I won't do it. And I don't think he was thinking that when he did it, and I don't necessarily think he did anything wrong, but I think when you're on that level and you have such a variety of people following you, and I don't know, there may be a certain cost of modesty that you have to consider because other people may not be mature enough to handle it. I don't know.
I can't argue that. I can't. It bothers me a little bit because it's just like but that scripture that you brought up is true. Humility comes to mind when I'm thinking about it. So yeah, I can't.
So
argue,
Fred says Chandler Moore's in sin.
No, I did not say Chandler Moore's in sin. I have no problems with the picture. No problem.
He should. Because of his platform, he should definitely be more careful about what he does.
Right.
Yeah, I think you gotta be cool. It's just the smart thing to do. You got too much riding on it. No pun intended.
All right, so so would you guys say? I don't think you should have posted, but I don't. Well, do you think the criticism is fair? I missed it.
Hey man, hey, all right, we move on, man. Jason, you a funny dude. Go ahead. What would you say?
You threw me off. I have no idea now. Would you officially say that you think it's fair or pharisaical?
I think it's. You talk about for people judging them. I think it's. I think you're a Pharisee if you.
Okay.
I think you're a Pharisee if you judge it. I think you're a Pharisee. If you judge it.
Pastor J.
Pharisee, lead them people. Leave them alone.
Fair.
Leave them alone.
Put your phone down.
Put your phone down. If you don't like it, leave those people alone.
Keep scrolling. Leave it alone, man.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna keep scrolling and get out of Chandler Moore's coming. The thing that I have an issue with is that woo yeah. I don't want no R&B worship. All right, and people seem to love it. The little, you know, but
that's a whole different conversation.
I know. I just had to find reason to hate. All right. I guess so, man. Yeah, I think it's fair. All right, you put the photo up, you get the heat, but maybe people are being fair. See, we out here. All right, I was gonna ask you, Pastor Jay, what's up for the day, but I forgot we had a whole conversation about that.
Yeah.
So what's up with tomorrow? All right, so we are in this series on crucial conversations where we're having. I don't want to say uncomfortable because I feel like we have uncomfortable. Well, yeah, maybe uncomfortable is the right word. Maybe conversations that might be more so uncomfortable. This is a great transition. We're coming from talking about Chandler Moore, and so I wanted to talk about the church and sex and how the church deals with sex, how we talk about sex, and sex seems to maybe be a taboo thing. And then I've seen some churches talk about sex in a really wild way to try to be ultra cool. I'm sure some pastors that posted some photos worse than Chandler Moore trying to be cool. So, but I guess my first question to you guys in talking about sex is, do you think that the way the church talks about sex, right, do you think it is harmful? Do you think it is helpful? Or do you think it really does not have any effect on, how we view sex as believers, I guess, as Christians?
All right, I guess I'll jump out there first. I think the church talks around sex. I don't necessarily think they talk about sex. That's been my purpose, that they talk around the subject, but they don't tackle it head on because it might not be appropriate. See, this is the first conversation. It might not be appropriate for, it's a part of life, right? Uh-huh. It's a part of life we all experience, we all come into, we all have to know something about. But because it is deemed taboo or inappropriate, we talk around it. We don't talk about it. And I think that's a problem because, especially when you're young, like I grew up in church. I grew up, and I think we talked about, I remember in this class for teenagers as a young, I was a child, but the teenagers are in this sex respect that was led by my dad and a couple other people where they learned about, they weren't learning about sex. They really just learned about how not to how not to tempt yourself, or how, like, it wasn't like the word sex. As a youth, in my opinion, you learn, stay away from it, but you don't really learn about what it is. Right. They kind of leave those conversations to your school curriculum, in my opinion.
So do you think they should?
So I think that the church as a whole around it, I there has to be a way where we learn about sex inside the walls of the church, and not via a adult video or a conversation with your friends. So I think we talk around sex, but I don't think we really tackle what it is. I'm talking for starting young. You go ahead.
Now, do you think that not talking about it but talking around it, do you think that has been helpful? Do you think that it has been
hurtful?
Hurtful? Okay.
Hurtful.
And you think it's
100% hurtful because
yeah,
I think it's hurtful because you don't know what it is. Like, you're curious. It's when someone tells you don't do something, but they don't explain to you what you're not supposed to do, why you don't do it. So as a young person, you build up curiosity. You hear about other people doing it, so you want to experience it as well, even if you don't know exactly what it is. That's why you have people going around claiming they're not virgins as a child. Oh, no, I ain't a virgin, man. You remember that?
Bro,
I don't know if you guys ever did
grade,
that.
like, man, I ain't no virgin. Second grade.
Exactly. So, but you don't even really understand. This you in second grade. You had a rough life if you're in second grade having that conversation. But
Bruh, it was.
you just really don't have a about what it is like. But see, you didn't know what maybe I didn't know what a virgin was in second grade. But if that was a conversation, all you knew is that it was going to be one.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
No, that's true. Pastor Green.
I agree 100% with Jason is saying. I think we talk around it. I think the ad. So I'm gonna repeat what Jason said. I think one of the reasons why we talk around it is because I think a lot of the leaders or people struggle with sex. Or
They doing it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk about an immoral. And what's the word? Immoral. There's a struggle there that they're battling. That's one reason why a lot of people don't touch that subject because it may bring some conviction to their own heart, or what is going on in the closets in their lives. And we have a tendency in the church to have like a lack of transparency. So because we're trying to keep that part just to ourselves and there's no accountability and transparency, of course, when it comes to the subject, we kind of keep it surface. We kind of keep it go around the subject and not get real of like, hey, I'm struggling with pornography. I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with that. I think we do dance around a lot of instead of hitting the topic head on. But you asked an interesting question. The second part you asked Jason was just like, do you think it should be taught in the four walls? And I started thinking, I was like, that is tricky. I think there has to be, and I don't know what that is on the top of my head. The first thing that comes to my mind is like small groups or something like that. Like, how can we talk about that subject? But I definitely think the fact that we danced around it has hurt because just it's human nature. When you don't, the curiosity it piques you. You're like, well, I don't know too much about this, so you're going to get your information some way or another. And a lot of times you find you can't go to the church because they're uncomfortable when you want to bring up those cups. So you're going to go to your friends. You're going to go to what you see on TV. You're going to explore yourself, and that's the worst thing because what they have to say about sex is going to get you in trouble.
I'm sorry, don't explore yourself.
Yeah.
So,
real quick,
I guess, yeah. No, go ahead.
Bro, I think, like you mentioned, there should probably be a sex ed class in church where people can ask questions, they can get the giggles out, because when you learn it around your peers, you don't want people to know your business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like a thing, So I think maybe having a sex education class in church in a small group, wherever you could feel safe and where you can get the questions answered, that could be something because you need a different perspective. Right now in the schools, they're teaching kids all kinds of stuff.
It's crazy.
They're saying things are okay that you might not be comfortable with as a parent. So at least that the education that they're learning around it is going to come from a Christian standpoint or a biblical standpoint where they can know why it's not okay to do this or why it's not okay to do that. So they're definitely like exposing kids young age to all kinds of things from masturbation to anal sex at second grade level. So they're having these conversations and introducing it to children very, very young where you can't even spell masturbation, but they're teaching you what it is. And they're saying it's okay to do it. So like, who are you to tell my 6-7-year-old child to do this? And the parents have no clue of what the actual syllabus is for, sex ed. That should be definitely, human anatomy is one thing, but then sex education, sexual orientation, different things that they're introducing, different concepts, then different genders that they're introducing to kids it's a lot now. So those conversations should definitely go ahead.
Now I wonder. I mean, I guess I think maybe I wonder. Like, this is the benefit of supporting more Christian schools and schooling, because I mean that would be, to me, be a good place to teach that. I wonder though, does the
not
Bible?
Affordable.
No, it is expensive. It's crazy expensive, for sure.
I'm all for it, but Christian school is not affordable for most Christians.
Does the Bible teach, or like people, whenever they talk about something, they always try to intro with saying the Bible actually has a lot more to say on this subject than you think. But does the Bible really have a lot to say about sex? And don't bring up Song of Solomon. Everybody always brings it up. Yeah, the Bible talks about sex. You ever read Song of Solomon? Okay, Song of Solomon, got it. He said something about her boob. What else? Like, the Bible doesn't really talk about sex like that.
Nah, I agree. I mean, you definitely don't want to read that to try to learn about it, because that's like reading the terms and conditions before doing the deed. It's like, all right, if I want to know what to do or what I'm like, come on, that's not it. Yeah, you can't explain. There's a lot of explainers in there, like the deciphering what's what. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get in trouble for saying this, but I do. I feel like here I got 99.95. 90. I'll be generous. I'll say 90% of Christian couples who are not married are doing it, and I feel like and 80% of Christians in general are doing it. I feel like in church, when it comes to sex, we only really discuss don't do it. But even from scripture, and you guys alluded to it, even from scripture, it says, like, the moment something really becomes a law and it's like, don't do this, it produces that desire in me tenfold. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be appropriate, but I feel like now, I was on this church trip. This was years ago when I was a kid. I was not even thinking nothing weird or anything, or nothing sexual. And then the girl at the time was leaning on my shoulder, and then the pastor's wife comes over.
Sorry, my bad. I jumped all the way to a different story. She was leaning on my shoulder, and
exactly.
I was,
and then the pastor's wife comes over and says something like, no, we don't do that here.
Right.
And it was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And then we went to Sight and Sound Theater, and we had a different type of sight and sound. But I blame the pastor's wife, because I wasn't thinking that until you put it in my head. I was like, this is a perfect spot to be inappropriate. I do think, like, I get it, because it is a powerful thing. But, like, we make sex like the boogeyman. And it's weird, because it does have, like, I'm not gonna say everybody heard it, but I know a lot of scriptures heard about, like, soul ties. You know, if you have a person, you're gonna get soul. I think the theory of that is true, but for so long I thought soul ties was actually in the Bible till I tried to find it, and I was like, I guess some people would say the concept of it is, but like, I wonder who started this thing about soul ties. I mean, again, I don't think that sex. Maybe okay, yeah. I don't think that sex is a passive action. I do think that there is a connection there that God built into sex. That is one of the many reasons why we are called to reserve it for marriage. But I think like this I don't know, this boogeyman-ness around sex, and even, you know, the clip we played before doing the countdown. But that's still that whole thing about the relationship between men and women, and make sure you guys stay apart, because if you guys get too close, you're just gonna start having sex with each other. I guess, like, what can we do better?
We gotta talk
when
about
it comes around the conversation of sex, because what we're doing right now, I don't think is working. We're just not. People still doing it. They just not admitting to it or talking about it.
I think we gotta start younger. We gotta start at a younger age. Like, I'm always amazed at people who expose their children. I don't say expose, but show and let their children experience life on a large scale very young. And they ask questions, they get the point. What is this? What is this on my body? And it doesn't like they're not shamed or guilted into asking or not asking questions.
Yeah.
You know, just it's like, oh, this is that part of your body. Oh, why does mommy have this or you don't have this? And they're giving information. You know, when you're told, oh, don't point at that, don't do that. You know, you become, oh no, you're afraid. You become scared with doing it. But I think you just start early, be open, be honest, and you're more knowledgeable as a child. You become more knowledgeable, become more aware, and it's not taboo. It's like it's nothing. So I think the more, just like anything else, like if you start introducing ideas, just like they're doing right now. They're introducing ideas of men and men being together, women and women being together to young audiences at a very young age. You introduce it in cartoons, you introduce it on, Disney, and you start implementing these concepts that it's okay to do this or it's okay to do that at a young age. So by the time they're a teen or adult, they've seen it and it's nothing for them to do it. And they normalize certain ideas. So if we start normalizing information, about our human anatomy, body, what sex is, not necessarily how to have it, or, I'm going to tell you, because you got these weird classes out there that, it's over sexualized. But I'm just talking about just having an honest conversation with children on a regular basis, or how often you need, or how often they ask, and just do it. And by the time they're in high school, they're aware of what sex is, they know what it's about, but your desire or inclination to want to try to, over sexualize women or over sexualize, like that was your experience on the bus, that someone over sexualized someone leaning on your shoulder,
Right.
And so the idea of over
sexualize the rest of that bus trip. Come on, somebody.
God forgives. But so over sexualizing these the idea of women. Why would you do that? He's showing that picture again, Chandler boy. Men over sexualizing men and women is a bad idea, and it sets you up for failure in the future. And I think they're doing it and they don't know it. It's like they're trying to get you to abstain from something you're completely unaware of.
Right. Yeah. And then it just makes you more curious about what it is.
Exactly.
But I'm curious though. So right now we're talking about it kind of in terms of like with kids, but like even with adults and sex, there's no Christian. Well, maybe I'm sure somebody, but like there's no Christian literature on adults and sex like that you can go to without it getting weird, right? Like.
I'm pretty sure there's something out there.
Oversharing. I'm about to overshare. I love looking up everything. I love, like my wife would tell you, like if before I do anything, the first thing. I'm not going where it sounds like I'm going about it. Okay.
It's too late. We're already there.
I just heard
your hand is currently on my shoulder.
I like looking up, like before I'm about to do anything, I look it up on YouTube, or like if I'm doing something, it's like, yo, I want to know how to do it better. Like I'm getting ready to paint. We moved to a house. I've been looking at all these painting videos, right?
Yep.
What if you?
Oh, you with it?
I'm just saying, like, there's no Christian place you could go to be like, yo. you see what I'm saying?
Nah, we don't. You gotta explain. You kind of talking
Like,
in code.
Tech is said.
Nah, let him explain.
Okay,
help me out, Fred. No, go, Fred. What you saying?
No, go ahead, Tech. I'm gonna let you go ahead because I don't want to misinterpret you.
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying it's
this
like
gonna
it's
be
like
your
the
voice.
gym. You go to the gym and you be like, "Am I doing these exercises right?" Right? You be like, "Is this all right?" But like, there's no Christian, thing. There's no Christian thing. You just out here. No.
No, it's true, but that's more adult. That's more,
But I'm
yeah,
saying
because you were
both.
talking about adult. Yeah, I don't think anybody should. So I think part of the problem with it, you guys are
It's like if you
freezing
want
on.
stronger pump. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh my
What you
God,
saying?
Oh wow!
you knew you were going to throw that out there.
Look,
Hey Nancy, we're talking about sex this week. Sex and Christianity. She said, "What's up, man?"
Well, I'm sorry, Jason. I cut you off. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you talking about adults. I think part of the issue is that maybe the idea of sex was to be like if it's for a man and a woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then if you're supposed to abstain until marriage, both parties abstaining until marriage. So you have two quote unquote virgins who are aware of the human body, who are aware of the functions of the body. They're not going in without knowledge, but the idea of maybe exploring and learning one another completely together is part of the beauty of that process, you know. So when Adam knew Eve and Eve knew Adam, they knew one another for the first time together. You know what I mean? So that might be a part of the idea behind it, or the design behind marriage, is that, you know, I'm going to explore this. We're going to explore this new area of life with one another together for the first time. I'll find out my likes, dislikes. We'll ask one another questions. We won't. I'm not going to ask you what worked for you and your wife, and then I'm going to go try what worked for you and your wife with my wife. Something's kind of off with that. You know, well, she looked like she liked it there, that person. So now I'm gonna go and, like, my wife's like, "What the heck are you doing?" You know, like, come on, like, where'd you get this from? So, like, but that's exactly what happens. You go watch videos, you go do all of these things, and then you go test them out on your wife, and just like, what the heck is happening? So you guys have, I think that goes back to what we said. These open, honest conversations between one another have to happen early on in the marriage. Like, you have to get to know one another. So I think it's important to, you know, those conversations are there. Go ahead.
I'm coming on with the sex book. Go ahead, Fred.
I want to say, I think a big part, going back to your very first question of like why, kind of like why, I think you said like why do we dance around it, or why don't we talk about it? I think if we take away the shame, I think a part of it is like we have so many secret struggles. So and if you struggle with anything, you don't want to get anywhere near it. You know, you don't want to deal with it. And I think that's kind of the reason why we kind of stay away from that topic. But I think if everybody look at themselves and really, and it's going to take, it's a lot of people that has been families that has been damaged with this, that has been quiet with the help sometimes of the church. You know, things have been got in the past, and a lot of things have been hurt. So I think that's where sometimes the overreaction comes through, like a history, like somebody may have been through something where, you know, a person in leadership, a pastor in leadership, it was kept a secret. So now, like a big thing is like, you know, sex, and teaching children like sex is bad, just because the hurt that has experienced of somebody's immorality. So I think I think if we're more bring a lot of light and be honest and transparent and take away this shame thing. I think it will be helpful in us starting the conversation, because I generally don't see the conversations being had when everybody is still trying to keep have their baggage that they're trying to maintain in the dark. I can't see us having an honest conversation about sex.
But how do we take away the shame of sin without taking away the weight of it? So
Sex
there's
isn't
a,
sin.
but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like there's a side of like where, like Fred was saying, like with people who are struggling sexually or out here doing it, or even I think about like homosexuality. There, like the church did treat and does treat homosexuals like trash. We've talked about this here. That doesn't make that right. That doesn't make that lifestyle the right choice. And so I feel like there's always this overcorrection that happens. Like, okay, the only way to take away the shame of it is to say that there's nothing wrong with it. And I think like as believers, we're not really. We could use some work on the nuance. Like, okay, you don't. If someone is struggling sexually, and I wish we, if I'm a jerk. If I would have thought about it, I'd love to have a lady's perspective here. So, ladies, if you're listening, I think even more that shame is even heavier with ladies, because there's in my observation, I don't know, I'm not a woman, but there's two shames that they carry. One, if you're not having sex because you maybe are not sexually, if you're not sexual, you're maybe perceived as not desirable, XYZ. And then if you are having sex, and if you go to a limit where they can consider too much sex, and now you have the shame of being labeled that. So it's like, I don't. How do we take away the shame without taking away the weight when it comes to the area of sexual struggles? If that makes sense. Real quick, Ernest said there is no condemnation in Christ. We tend to be selective about who we condemn and who is not condemned, and I think that's very true. And really, it seems like any sexual sin we prop up as you know what I mean. Like somebody could be a jerk or a liar, but if they're struggling with something sexually, they out of there. We have to talk about the fact that we all have a sexual desire, and I think that is true. I think we sometimes do, even with sexuality and sexual orientations, we equate the desire as the sin. I'll never forget, Fred, we were having with someone, I don't know if you remember this conversation, Fred. We were having a conversation with someone, and I don't know how they feel now, but at the time, they were struggling with homosexuality, and they were like, actually, I saw this on the interview too. Someone said that desire isn't necessarily gone, but the desire isn't the sin; it's the acting upon it, and you know what I mean. So I feel like we don't really tell people how to. Okay, that desire can be present. That doesn't mean that you are that, or that you have to lean all the way into it.
Yeah. No, I think it starts. That's a big question, tough questions. I think it takes, number one. I always keep saying this word. It takes humility, humility in the fact that I think sometimes when we do, one reason why we're afraid to share is because we're afraid to be judged. Afraid that this person sees me as X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So is my brother or my sister in Christ? Are they going to still walk with me if they know this side of me? If they know this part of me, are they going to treat me different? And sadly, that's not made up. Sadly, that's true in a lot of ways that we do have. We don't get that title of judgmental Christians for no reason. I think we do have that judgmental thing of like being better than everybody else. Like we have our lives together, and because we don't struggle in this specific area, or because or we have overcome this struggle in this specific area. When somebody who's still in that area struggling with, we kind of look at them a different way. We treat them different, or they have been knocked down on the pedestal. I think the problem is that too many of us are trying to put ourselves on pedestal, and then too many of us are putting people on pedestals. Like we have to understand, like we are, we are to not look at ourselves as on a pedestal, meaning that we walk with a certain humility and a certain openness to say, look, I love God. I'm pursuing God, but at the same time, I have this real off the break, off the break. And I mean, of course, that takes some getting to know somebody. I'm just my first day. It's like you get what I mean. It's just like I think so many times we try to. That would be a basic greeting, but I think so many times we present ourselves in the church immediately as like we got it all together. And like that's how we like to present ourselves, because we're afraid to be judged. And then at the same time, I think the other flip side, I think some people automatically, and maybe it's because the result of everybody putting on the face, we put people on pedestals. So when we do find out that information, and now that person say, "Oh, you don't got it all together," oh, I'm kind of judging you right now. So I think where it starts at is just learning how to. I remember Pastor Dave said this a while ago, and it always stuck with me. And he was just saying, like, a great sign of spiritual maturity is to basically, I forgot how he said it, was more better than this, but it's to basically know somebody how they is and like not judge them. Like it's just like it's not it's not swaying you either way. Whether you this or that, it's not swaying my opinion of you. And I think so many times like we look at what a person is doing and not doing and deeming them this level of Christian versus this level of Christian, or even sometimes that person's not really saved because this person is doing X, Y, and Z. And I think once we get past that, we learn how to be transparent and be accountable to one another without the judgment, but in a more so in a way of not condoning though. And that's the balance. It's not you're not transparent and being accountable to somebody to condone, but that transparency and that accountability is there for your safety, is there for your help, for you to have someone to call and say, look, I am struggling with this. And for somebody not to be on the other side with judgment, but say, hey, what can we do? What do you need right now?
Look at Robbie Zacharias. He was out here whipping it out and doing his thing. Yo, side note, that would suck to be passed. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to pass away and then your sin, all your sin comes out. It's wild. Yeah. But there was nobody that he could talk to.
Maybe.
What you about to say, Pastor Joe?
I said maybe there wasn't anyone to talk to. One word keeps ringing in my ear, and is the word exposure. You know what I mean? Just like I want to use the exposure, and then I want to say owning it, because that's a bad term, because that kind of leads to someone, saying, well, this is how I am. But the word exposure comes to mind with me, and then just being confident in that you're covered. Like the condemnation that we quote, there's no condemnation in Christ Jesus, does not necessarily mean there's no condemnation by other people or even other Christians. You know what I mean? So we definitely have to just be confident in who Christ is and who He's called us to be. Does that make sense? And not worry about it. Like we all fall short. We're all guilty of it. But I think you'll win more people by exposing sin, because keeping it hidden kind of is an incubator. Hiding it is an incubator to try to not try to, but it almost keeps the sin in a place where it could definitely grow and then keep you more shameful. So the moment you not reveal it to the world, but reveal it to God, and then of course you mentioned accountability. Person is like, listen, this is what what it is, and this is where we're trying to go with it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But that exposing definitely, like, it kind of just, it's like putting, bug spray on a bug.
Yeah.
It does a world of difference. Makes a world of difference. Good.
Sex is the coronavirus.
Okay.
Okay. You got to
All right.
elaborate on that.
I'm gonna
No,
lean
that's it.
back
I'm
and
done.
wait for this one.
I'm done.
Yes, sex
That's
is
it.
the coronavirus. What you
All right,
bring?
I'm a channel my inner Jason Blunt here.
Okay.
You want to
Okay,
expose?
it seems
Let me
that
mask up real quick.
I'm gonna go left. It seems
Wow.
by a fair amount of new evidence that uh, the coronavirus is maybe started in a lab. I don't know if it started in a lab, but nobody wanted to deal with that.
In
Everybody was like,
China.
"No, you can't say that. Shh, shh, don't say that. That's wrong. Shame, shame, shame." And then I think it probably would have been helpful for us to know what we were dealing with on the onset instead of giving us these different remedies because you didn't want to deal with the truth. And so I think the church approaches sex that same way. It's like we don't want to keep it real on the topic of sex. And so it's like we're like, no, you can't say that, or you can only talk about it here in this way, or all you need to know is, just don't do it. I do struggle with the dynamic though, because people are doing it like a mug. It is in my opinion, it is a rampant thing. We need to get Dave James on so he can tell.
Hey,
Dave is the underground. David James is the
don't.
Christian shade room. Okay, if you want to know about all the sins of Christians, David James knows. Okay, so people are out here doing it like crazy. They're out here getting it in, and so it does need to be dealt with. It
Yeah.
does need to be dealt with because
Yeah.
there is a certain shamelessness when it comes to sex among believers who they're just out here doing it like God don't care. But the answer to that is not whatever we're doing now, because I think
No.
whatever we're doing now feeds into that. It feeds into like I was reading this book on pornography. It's called Your Brain on Porn, and one of the things that they said is, again, I'm gone left. I'm gonna keep going left. They said he interviewed a director of transsexual porn, and he said that he made the directors for transsexual porn say they make it for straight men. And the point that the reason why he brought it up is they were saying how your brain works, and when something is taboo, and your adrenaline gets pumping because you know you should not be doing it, but then it is also sexual. It just makes that moment even more, and people get addicted to that. And so people tend to go deeper and deeper to different levels of sexual perversion, and then there's probably one of the many reasons why you have all these men and all these different little weird little things that they go into, pee on me, poop on me, whatever. However that path, just take that little clip out. However that little path goes, because it's something about even in your brain when you know you should not do something and sex is involved, that it raises the arousal of it. And I think that's the same way with the way we talk about sex. Like the more we like make it this thing, and it's like all this tension and like something that we gotta hide. I think it makes people want to do it more, and then people are out here getting it
Well,
in.
let me ask y'all a question. Do you think that we talk about pornography enough in the church?
Nope.
So I think the reason why I asked that, because I want to get your opinion, because I don't think so either, but I want to make sure I'm not assuming. I think we need to. I think that's one place that we need to start, of just like, hey, like, let's be real. Like, who among us struggle with pornography, and like really have those conversations amongst men and women. about like what's the struggle, because I think a lot of times as Christians, I think that's one of the biggest, darkest secrets is that pornography is, we may not go out and have sex with a whole bunch of different people. But
Right.
one thing that is safe is that we have our cell phones and we got our laptops
Right.
that we could get on and watch pornography.
That is
And
true.
that and watching pornography stirs up a lot of things, like it doesn't help. It doesn't help your situation as
Right,
far
right.
as trying to wait to marriage, right? What we want to do, so we substitute it with pornography, and not a lot of people talk about uh, pornography addiction and how dangerous it is, right?
Right, yeah.
So I think that's one place that we could start, is like talk about like the pornography issue that we have within the church, and talk about the implication, how it's an addiction. It's not something, is like it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. It's an addiction. So I think we have to definitely start there. I know IG just went down.
I'm about to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to go
So
back.
we're gonna take a break. Take a quick.
No, I'm about to hop back up right now.
All right.
Well, you want to mention
So
where they can follow? Go ahead.
yeah, I do, but I just want to make sure that people. I agree. So my question was, and I agree with you, Fred. I'm not sure if we should start at talking about pornography, because
Mm.
do you think that pornography, like people go to pornography because of their issues with I won't say sexual frustration, but Aaron mentioned sexual desires.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like they don't know where to go with that. So they go to pornography because of
Mm.
what's happening um in the other areas. Because I don't know if I'm gonna ask it one more time when
Yeah,
uh
when everybody gets back on. Mm.
we logging back on the IG, guys. So yeah, so it's here. So my question is, are we is going to pornography a side effect of the issues of sexual frustrations, or just not knowing to do with the desires of sex? Because I don't think that is anything wrong with I don't say desiring sex, but like having, like, you're gonna have it is a part of your human nature. There's nothing
Right,
wrong
yeah.
with it, but the question is, when you have those urges, when you have those inclinations, you people go somewhere with that. Sometimes it's pornography, sometimes it's other places. So I don't know if that's a good place to start with porn. I think we should be talking about it, but my question is, should we um talk about what to do when we feel these certain ways?
Yeah, and don't say pray. I feel like that's the
I'm not
answer.
saying I'm not
No,
saying
I know you're
that.
not saying that. I'm saying
Yeah.
in
Fred, get back
general,
on
like
IG.
when we when we talk about like the answers to,
Right.
when we talk about like what do we, because I think that's a great question. The desire is not wrong, but we don't talk about what to do with that desire. We always do the churchy answer and be like, oh, you need to pray, you need to take it to Jesus. Like,
Mm.
Right.
that's true, praise God, and God is the answer, but we don't really talk about what taking it to Jesus looks like.
I don't think
Yeah.
they got
Like,
the answers. You ain't got the
I
answers, Sway.
just
I
swear
think
they
that the
don't.
pastors don't have the answers.
No, they don't.
They don't know what to do either.
Right, right,
I
right.
heard, I mean, come on, you here, take a cold shower, go for a run, go for, like, it doesn't do anything with the spiritual side. We talk about the physical side, but we
Right.
don't necessarily talk about this, what it does spiritually. And I
Mm.
think that those, is that what you did? Nah, you know what I did. So yeah, so there you go. Thanks, Tech. But
That's
we
great.
don't have the conversations about what to do with those desires
Now I
when
tell
you
you my
have them.
hypothesis.
Go for it.
And this is my hypothesis. You know how they say I'm not a doctor. Don't give me. This is
Mm-hmm.
one thing that has been helpful for me. Like we talked about it before. Like right now, I balance between because of my Christian upbringing. I should say I struggle with it, but I do. I struggle with anxiety and general anxiety disorder. And one of the things that I have learned, and we kind of talked about it on here, is that you do not have to react to the feeling. So we talk about the desire doing being present, right? And we talk about the desire being present. I think, in my opinion, one way, which takes work. I don't think any of this, and I know that's not what you're saying. I don't think any of this is A, B, and C. It can be present. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to act on it, and you don't have to get it to go away. So, like with anxiety, one of the things that makes anxiety worse is the more you try to make yourself not anxious. You just feed the anxiety, and the anxiety gets worse. What I found is it can be there. Like you can have a sexual desire for something and not have to act on it. It can be present. Now, of course, easier said than done. XYZ, blah blah blah. But we need to at least find a path that we can go start training on. Like if someone's trying to lose weight. They don't work on getting the desire away to want to eat a certain food. I have not been successful at that. So, but it is the desire to not give in to that desire. Like, and that desire can be present. You don't have to react to it. Again, easier said than done.
Oh,
go ahead, Fred. I'm gonna read a comment after you're done.
I want to say real quick because I think you don't have to react to desire. I think one thing that can help is to going back to accountability. One of the great thing about accountability is that you're surrounding yourself with other people who are fighting the same battle that you are, and sometimes it's very encouraging to hear that somebody else had that desire that week where you failed, but somebody when you're showing up for your accountability. That same week they're talking about how they overcame that desire. That's very encouraging because a lot of times when you by yourself in your own struggle, you think it's impossible. Like you talk, you like I remember people, when I'm talking about accountability, it's like, like you had a desire, but you don't act on it. It's like a shocking thing to say, like, you don't react to that. Because the desire is there. The desire is not going to go away. Desire is natural, right?
It could subside.
But to like what you're going to choose to do with that desire, like you said, is a point. And I think what helps is that you're walking along with people with the same strive and the same goal, and just hearing their I'm about to be churchy, but their testimonies or hearing their what they have experienced. That's somebody that somebody that you this is not Jesus Christ that you read in the Bible. This is my brother who I grew up with, or this is somebody I came into the faith with. This is somebody who I know struggled with this exact same thing I'm struggling with, but he won that battle.
Right, yeah.
So it's possible. Again, yes, we know prayer, but more practical things. I think it's an encouragement to have.
That's a good point. Go ahead, Jason, and then I wanted to respond to something you said, Fred.
All right. Well, I think that's a good thing. What to do with your desires. I think that was a good point, Fred. One movie, as you were talking, a movie title came across, How to Train the Dragon. So I said that because I think how we respond to our desires, we train ourselves as to what to do or what not to do.
Come on, somebody.
So if as soon as we have the desire, if we react a certain way to that all the time, like this is just going to be the new, what's the word? This is how we're going to just respond every time we feel it. So same way it goes when we're not responding to this particular, I want to say trigger or feeling, we're creating we're exercising differently. So we're training ourselves in the opposite direction to not respond to that particular thing. Similarly to how, a dog may respond to the doorbell ringing and he starts barking. Every time the doorbell rings, he doesn't know what's going on, but the sound triggers a particular action. It's the same way. Like we have to train ourselves the same way. I'm sure there's a scripture on that. One is coming to mind, but I can't pinpoint it. About you know, the same idea of just training ourselves to do a particular thing or not.
Right.
Go ahead.
Now you gonna read a comment.
Oh yeah, we have Calm Soul said, "What can you tell people, or what can you tell people you start feeling this way at around age 15, honestly, and it gets worse in your adult years. It's also bad that Christian men rush into marriage so this burden of sex won't be there." First, let me start by saying it's not only Christian men, it's Christian women as well. And I think we've been talking about what you can do. Obviously, we all of them have to be tested. All the methods should be tested and used, whatever you're doing. But at a young age, again, we mentioned before that we should, when you're 15, you're hiding a lot of stuff. And I don't know about you, but in African American households, typically you don't talk about sex. You don't mention it to your parents. A lot of those conversations happen around friends. So, but what I would say is that as an adult, as an adult male, where you are now, is that maybe we can start by providing a safe place for our children to have conversations. We can be the first step there, and not only we can't. All right, so what we can't do is we can't wait for them to bring it to us.
That's a good point.
Because by the time they bring it to us, it's already too late. We have to be, I'll use the word, first partakers. You only hear that during communion, but we gotta be, or given. But we have to be first responders, first person to say, hey, I went through this when I was your age. Being transparent, like you mentioned. Fred, being first to say, hey, I know where you were, and you just went dead on IG.
Yeah, I'm loading it up now again.
But I know where you were. I know where you are. I was here. And if you have any questions whatsoever, I'll be more than happy to talk with you. You don't have to worry about getting in trouble. You don't have to, like, you can ask me whatever you want. Nothing's off the table. And I think that's important, to create a space where you can actually have a real conversation with your family, not your children, and that could be super helpful.
Let me add on, piggyback off of that, Jason. I think because you saying that's true. We need to be first in bringing up that conversation, because a lot of times, just like when I was younger, your kids may not be want to start that conversation with you as a parent, and you leaving them susceptible to learn a lot about about sex from TV and all that other stuff. I think, I'm about to go out on a limb here, but I think that's why it's so important to, like, I'm always thinking about looking in the mirror, right? Is for you to make sure that you fight that battle in your own life for your kids and for other people, to overcome those battles in your own life. Because I think it's easier to have those type of conversations when you from a place of you've been there but you overcame. and everything is out in the open, like you're not hiding anything. I think it's harder to have that type of conversation when you still have, it's still a secret for you. It's still something that you don't want anybody to know. I think it's harder to have that conversation. So I think I think so many times we look at overcoming certain things in our walk as just for us, but it could be for other people. It is very important to be able to sit down with somebody and say, look, I struggle with pornography. That is, thanks be to God, I came through that, but I'm able to converse with somebody at the moment struggling with pornography. But I think it's easier to have those conversations once you overcome certain things in your life. Not to say that you have to overcome and be able to talk about it or to walk with somebody with it, but I think it is important. I think sometimes we minimize overcoming certain things in our life. I think sometimes we just accept that it is what it is. I'm not perfect, and we just accept it. But I think it has to be a strive. Like, no, I want to overcome this. I don't want this to be a thing in my life anymore. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, I agree, and even going to your earlier point, Fred, about to also answer the question. I mean that's a separate conversation about rushing into sex. I mean rushing into marriage because of sex.
It's a bad reason to start marriage.
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
think it should be the.
biblical. It's the one verse that
Nah,
people ignore. Don't nobody agree with the Bible when it comes to that verse.
yeah,
It's
you
like,
worry about why divorce rates are so high.
but
You
people
know,
are not doing that. I don't think that people are. I think they're rushing into marriage for different reasons. Maybe like, thinking that they're not understanding what marriage is and the responsibility of it. But like, let's say you were with somebody, you love them, y'all loved each other, and you're like, man, we are going to do it. Scripturally, it says y'all need to just go ahead and get married.
You get married.
Our logical mind says, no, we got to get this right. We got to do this. We got to, and I'm not saying that people should, but I just think it's interesting. That's the scripture that we tend to disagree with in our actions, in my opinion. I think the other thing to Fred's point earlier is I think that once we remove the shame, I was thinking about like if we talk about like the gym, it's easy for guys or people to get together and say, hey, yo, we need to keep each other accountable. Let's go to the gym. We're going to the gym. You been in the gym this week? Yeah, I've been in the gym this week. And we all had a conversation, but we don't have those conversations about sex. We don't be like, hey, if you got 3 friends that's in a relationship or whatever, you're like, hey, y'all good? Are y'all holding it down? We tend not to do those things. Aaron says you think that scripture about having sex is misinterpreted. Maybe that could be why. But it's not like people do it anyway. I don't know. I only know one person my whole life who got married because they felt like they was going to do it. I only know one person. They still married now. But I don't know. I don't think there's a plethora of Christians that are like, man, I'm going to do it. I need to get married.
I just want to know because we're talking as men here and what conversations we have with our friends or don't have.
Let's go.
I'd like to know if I feel like the sex conversation is one that may occur more often in the female circle. So I just want to put it out there and ask if the ladies are having these conversations in your circles that we as men are not necessarily having. You guys might have a leg up, no pun intended, on us in that regard.
All right, so I guess while we wait and see, I don't know what to say. This is Dave James. I'm not gonna read the Dave's comment. But I mean, while we're waiting, I do think. I think that it's something that needs to be had, and I do think there's a double taboo. It seems like for women when it comes to sex. I guess my last question on this was for guys, or since we're talking about guys and women, it does kind of go back to that thing. Are we as men too predatory? David Chappelle had this joke. I'm trying to think of a clean way to do this joke. I'm about to ruin it. Sorry.
No, you about to this conversation already.
Murder's joke. But he had this joke about like having all this money. Like I think when he got the $50 million and like knowing that everybody wanted his $50 million. And he was talking about like getting on a bus and like, man, this person knows I got $50 million, and all these people, know that I got $50 million, and all they want is my money. And then he said, I'm not gonna say what he said, but he said, I finally understood what it's like to be a woman. And it was a joke, but there was wisdom in that.
I get what he's saying.
A parable in that, because I wonder, as a woman, like men, and I guess the world is the world. Christian men, are we too predatory?
I see. Even that joke is from a male perspective, because he basically exposed how he felt about other women. See, that's a male, because he doesn't know what it feels like to be a woman. He has no idea. So for him to say, I get the joke, but in my thinking and in you saying it, I get the idea that men are after this one thing, or after women. He kind of revealed what his perspective or idea of women was in that joke.
Yeah, I don't think he was alone. I don't think he revealed himself.
I think I think it happens, but I don't know. That's another conversation. I don't know if women walk around feeling like men are after them. That's a different conversation. But I don't feel like personally
that's different.
That I can't attest to me like we're around women all day long. You walk in Walmart, you're shopping on shelves. You're not shopping for women. You don't come across some, but of course, but some is always going to be, some.
But
yeah,
is your answer to that no? Like, as Christian men, do you feel like you don't feel like Christian men are too predatory? Like, again, he defined
you
life.
said too predatory. I don't
predatory. Like,
I don't think you can generalize men. You can put all men in a box like that.
Okay, all right. Super woke? I'm saying all we do in this show is generalize. I'm saying
I can't generalize that because I fall in that.
I'm saying as Christian men, again, maybe to answer the question for myself, I think so. Yes, I think we live in a culture that teaches us as men, you got to go find your wife, and is this your wife? Is this the one for you? And so when you see a woman, you don't see her as your Christian sister. You can maybe see her as your Christian sister if you X her out as a mate. Like I'm saying, like if you're like single or like I know some Christians that like they all Christian men and women they all hang out. I think it's slightly weird, but some people are able to do it successfully. I wonder. I don't know. It just goes back to that conversation. Do we need to learn better how to have a brother and sister relationship with people of the opposite sex?
I would say, yeah. Aaron says a lot of women feel like Christian men aren't predatory enough or more aggressive. I think he might be alluding to.
Some Christian women say that Christian men
are
passive.
I think that goes towards the woman's concept of what a man should be when they're not a man. But they see what they desire from other relationships, television, movies, etc. So they expect it for themselves or whatever. I don't know. That goes back to these classes. We need to go back and have these conversations and learn about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, how to approach one another, and not like where are you getting these ideas from? You know what I mean? Like people get these concepts and ideas from everything around them, and then they're from fictional places, and then apply it to real life. Like that's not how the world works. I'm not going to pretend I know what it means to be a woman, and you can't pretend you know what it means to be a man because you saw Michael B. Jordan pick some woman up and toss her. Like, come on, bro. That ain't gonna happen.
Jason got some stuff with his heart. At Jay the Blood.
Hey, come, follow me.
All right, I guess I think these different conversations that we can go now. But anything else? Any final thoughts? I wonder, did we help anybody not have sex today?
Probably not. I don't think we're trying to. We're open. We're starting the conversation. I think the goal is to expose the truth, right, and expose the lie, and be open to having conversations.
Where did Michael B. Jordan come from?
Hey, because I mentioned him because I know he's a man that a lot of women find attractive. So they idolize these different figures and then try to apply it to people. He's an actor. People are actors, right. That's all.
All right, Pastor J.
Yep.
Anybody you want to bring up?
What are you talking about?
Any closing remarks? Anybody you want to bring up? Just another thing. Idris Elba. These women, they just want Idris Elba. It ain't biblical. Man, go ahead. I'm sorry, Fred. Any closing remarks?
I would say definitely. I think it's important that we had this conversation. I think we only touch the surface. I think it's important for you can have these conversations with your fellow Christian brothers and sisters in Christ that and I think part of that takes a little bit of humility to go to somebody that you already have a friendship with, and somebody that you already have a friendship with. I'm sorry. Something happened on IG. I'm gonna finish my statement there. I'm gonna try to get this out. I think it's important to go to somebody that you already have a relationship with, and I mean friendship with, and just kind of express hey, I'm struck this area, and hey, I need to talk to you about it. I want to talk. I think it starts there, just being transparent, and we're not minimizing the power of prayer. Is important. So we're not minimizing. I know we didn't mention prayer, but that's always the go-to for churches. We just leave it there. That's why we try to talk to other things other than that. But I don't want to give the impression that prayer is not a huge part of it. So definitely prayer, accountability, and there we go. Hey.
Good job, Fred. Good job, Fred.
Oh, say Samuel Jackson.
Oh man. Hey.
I'm sorry. Aaron threw me off. I thought I was good, and then I saw it again. It's Samuel Jackson. Okay, praise the Lord. Okay,
man.
God is good. My bad. All right, Fred, I'm sorry.
Nah, I got it out. I got it out. I'm done.
The Shredded Faith Podcast. Having honest and necessary conversations. You might not be having it at your local Sunday morning service. Come on, somebody. Okay.
Sorry, guys who are listening. Oh my God.
Okay. All right. Make sure you follow us. If you like this episode, listen to us, and make sure you subscribe, review, all the above. I don't know what to say. All right. The Shredded Faith Podcast. Am I forgetting something? Okay.
I think we good.
All right. We are out. Oh my gosh.